Hey everyone, welcome back to Riffs Across Generation. I'm your host Andrew, and I'm here with my co-host,
Eli.
and we are here with the band Casket Robbery, and we are very, very excited for them to be on the podcast. We've been jamming to their latest album and single for the past I don't know 6 months straight. It's been in our top rotation, and then we are very happy that we tracked them down and they agreed to come on the podcast. So thank you very much. If you just want to introduce yourselves, to give everybody kind of an idea of who's talking when they hear you, because most of our listeners are just audio.
Yeah, hello. Thanks for having us. I am Megan. I am the vocalist of Casket Robbery.
And I'm Cory. I play guitar.
Awesome. Awesome. For those who don't know your band, you guys have been around for quite some time, pre-COVID. It's kind of how we measure things, I guess, now, right? So 2010, we are admittedly latecomers to the Casket Robbery bandwagon, where we've been, like I said, listening to you about 6 months. We first heard you about a year ago, but definitely getting into you guys the last 6 months on heavy rotation. So with that being said, can you give us just, the quick snapshot of your band and kind of maybe touch on how you got through COVID and how that changed the band and the way you approach, connecting with your audience?
Yeah, do you want to handle like how we got started?
Yeah. So yeah, like you said, the band started back. It's like 2010 or 11, something like that. And we just started this as like a studio project, and we put out some songs, and a lot of people kept asking us to play shows. So we put a band together based off that. We've had some lineup changes over the years, but yeah, we've been pretty solid, consistently playing shows and touring heavily since 2016.
Yeah.
And yeah, like super heavily. That's kind of our thing. Yeah, COVID was crazy. We actually wrote the album Rituals of Death before and during COVID, and recorded it through all of that, and it was quite a process. It took us a long time to kind of get through things, but here we are. I mean, we put out the album and we've been touring off of it, and it's been going great.
Yeah, I joined in 2017. 2017. And yeah, I my first tour was like our a little bit over a month long tour, and we kind of just steadily those next few years toured more and more. And yeah, then COVID happened. We had a bunch of stuff canceled that year, and it kind of forced us to um get used to just adapting to some new ways of getting our music out there. We started our Patreon that year because everything was kind of uncertain and we missed everyone.
Yeah.
um Having members, not like right next to us at a time where we could go do like live streaming and stuff. We thought that was our best way to stay connected with everyone. And we've always kind of cultivating our relationships online with people, and everyone we've met on the road has always been really important to us. So we kind of dove into that and all the uncertainty that year too. And then, since everything kind of opened back up, and music was kind of a slow start after COVID,
Yeah.
the shows and things like that, there was just too much and uncertainty, and even venues and things like that. um, we kind of slowly got back out there, and it's kind of been almost nonstop since then. And we just have big plans to keep rolling like we were right before COVID.
Yeah, I've heard your band described a lot of different ways: death metal, slam metal, deathcore, grindcore. How would you guys describe your sound to someone who's just curious about the band or is just listening?
That's a really great question, and it's always fun for us seeing which category that people put us into. We've heard everything at this point.
Yeah.
I just someone described us at one point. Someone wrote an article and described us as death metal with a wink,
Mm.
and that stuck with me since then. And it is probably my favorite description that anyone has ever made of us. And it really, I think, just it. We try to take things from everywhere. I think all of us are kind of continuously trying to push what Casket is, and though still staying true to like what we were initially. And death metal is definitely our core, really is what we're all about, but we love adding in weird shit and just going with that and seeing where it takes us. So yeah, I love hearing what everyone thinks we are.
Yeah, yeah, we hear all different types of influences and sounds in there, and it's great because it shakes things up. It's definitely not pigeonholed anywhere. You guys hail from the Great White North. For us down here in Tampa, you guys might as well be beyond the wall up there for us, but we're down here. And we're super excited you're coming down here. By the way, but we'll talk about your tour in a little bit. Is there a certain feel or a rawness that comes from the area you're from that you're kind of leading or championing or spearheading with that whole scene up there?
The cool thing about especially in recent years, there has been so much awesome metal coming out of the Midwest, and like and even in Wisconsin in general, and we're just pretty lucky to have such a rich and diverse kind of just craziness of so much metal around here to pick from. um and I think we do a pretty good job of shouting out like all of our friends in the scene and all that, and getting people onto new music. But we're so bored up here with the snow and the cold that
Yeah, yeah.
we gotta make crazy music. So that's what we do.
Yeah, we don't have that down here, but like I said, we live outside Tampa, so a majority of the bands we're still hearing are, that Tampa, Florida,
Yeah.
death metal bands.
Yep.
So it's nice to hear, different influences from different parts of the country and talk to people about what their scenes are like and what kind of music is coming out of those generally. So if the music coming out is anything like you guys, we'll have to check out a lot more Wisconsin bands.
Yeah, I have so many for you.
Nice, nice. So let's talk about your last full length album, which isn't new, but it's new for us, and it may be new for some of the listeners. But I'm sure some of your fans have been listening to it for years now, so they'll yell at me if they hear me call it new. Rituals of Death. It was put out by Blood Blast Records, correct? And the second question to that is that like a digital arm of Nuclear Blast, or is it affiliated at all with Nuclear Blast Records?
Yeah, yeah. Blood Blast is a digital distribution um, offshoot of Nuclear Blast. So our A&R guy also works at Nuclear Blast. So it's
Oh,
been
nice.
cool. Yeah, it's been super cool working with them. And yeah, they put out. So they just did the digital distribution end of things, and then we handled like the physical albums, which was really cool. So we got to handle that end of it. Yeah, we did awesome. It's been cool working with them.
Nice. So in this day and age, what does it feel like with a record label? I'm from old school. I date myself, the 80s, 90s. I grew up where your goal when you're a metal band is to get on a record label, and they would help you on tour and they'd get your cassettes out and all that. What is it like now, the experience working with, what's your expectations out of a record label?
It's different now than it's a lot different than like I think our ideas of it. Because I kind of grew up in the same thing. Like my thing was when I first started bands, I wanted to get signed to a label and do that whole thing. But it's so different now because you don't necessarily need to do it that way. There's so many different ways to do it. And like I said, like we just ours wasn't a traditional label contract. It was just distribution only. And then we handled the physical end of it. So you can kind of go about it so many different ways. There's distribution only. You could distribute it yourself. Um, but I think with that said, working with a team, like we're very fortunate to have Continental Touring and Blood Blast, and then now we're working. The next album is going to be with Bleeding Art Collective, and they're going to handle the physical end of it.
Nice.
So that's been another addition. So it's kind of like for us, it's just cool having like this really awesome team around us and really good people to work with.
Yeah, very cool. Do they help out with like, you putting the money up for merchandise before you go on a tour? Do they help with any tour support, or is that just following you guys?
That's just us.
That's just
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
tough.
Yeah. We
Yeah.
and that's kind of how we've done this whole thing the whole time is um we have our hands in all of it. We are responsible for all of it, and we do our own like shipping of all of our merch. It's just me and Cory. And I don't know. I think like Cory said, having the team of everything that we've kind of slowly built this team that we have now that really has helped us, make all these connections and stuff, and has gotten us more doors open for us, especially now. But I do love that, we're still grinding everything. It's just us. And it has really helped us build a really strong and loyal and super devoted fan base. And we're
Yeah.
super thankful for that.
Yeah, I see you guys everywhere, and your merch even appeared on the Exodus guy, right? The new Exodus
Yeah,
lead
yeah,
singer.
Rob
Yeah,
is
yeah.
so
So that was cool.
Yeah, he's a
Yeah,
good dude. He's a super good dude. I was on his podcast the first year that we played Milwaukee Metal Fest, and he's just the kindest, just so awesome.
He
nice.
introduced us on stage that
Yeah,
year too,
yeah.
so that
No,
was
very cool.
cool.
Yeah, very cool. So back to the album and the music a little bit. It seemed like from us listening again, newbies, and listening to your older material after we heard your newer material, it seemed like it was a definite jump and a progression in the way you wrote songs, the way you structured songs, the aggressiveness of the songs, from your early stuff to that album, definitely to the latest single. We see even a progression there. Is there anything you're intentionally doing to progress the sound along, or is it just let's try to make this as brutal as possible? Or I hear a lot more complicated riffs, a lot more timing changes. The vocals sound a little harsher on the new single than in the past. So is there anything in particular that you want to make sure you get across in your new music?
I think you just hit the nail on the head that we really just are trying to progress, and we're so fortunate to be surrounded by so many amazing peers in metal, and being on the road as much as we have has really allowed for us to try new things and delve into our sound and just really take that to the next level. So I mean, I can speak for myself that I hear all these people and I see my friends making these just crazy, disgusting noises.
Yeah.
I want to do it, like I want to see what I can do. So for me,
Yeah.
it's, well, what can I do in this song to push myself vocally? That's something new that still, stays true to me. You know it's me, but it's, well, a lot of people don't know it's me, but it's, that's really important to me, is to just keep progressing as a vocalist and making my range as far as I can make it.
Yeah, none of those pig noises that are in slam metal nowadays. None of that's popping up anywhere.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
We
No,
do a lot
go continue.
with the writing end of it. It's just like you said, we try to stay true to us, but we also try to just kind of expand a little bit here and there. And I don't know. I just write what's kind of cool for me, and the riffing has been a big part of it. So yeah, it gets a little more riffy and in your face.
Yeah, nice. We dig it.
How do you like keep those sounds together, not sounding like copying like Cannibal Corpse, but sounding like a modern band?
Yeah, that's an awesome question. And I guess it's tough to answer too, but so I guess we intentionally like when we record, we like the high end production. So some of our bands we take influences from, like you mentioned, Cannibal Corpse. They're old school, from '90s or whatever, and they kind of have like a more raw production of things. Um, and even when you see them live, they're just like this raw, abrasive sound. But we've tried to intentionally kind of take those riff ideas, or like arrangements, and then but like put a modern production to it. So we use a lot of that, like that kind of style of, it's just a recording um, thing that we do.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate that it sounds modern, but the drums sound like drums still. They don't sound electronic all the time. And I know you guys use backtracks on some of the stuff, but it's not overly done where it's like that's part of the whole music of it. It's tastefully done. It's kind of in the background, emphasizing some of the riffs that you're doing. So we definitely appreciate the way you're blending it in the studio.
Yeah. We've tried to take, yeah, it's cool. We try to take like death metal, but like push it to boundaries that you don't normally see. And we have fun with it, honestly. Like I like the challenge of throwing unconventional sounds into death metal. So I don't know, like I'm trying to think of weird things we've stuck into the music, but I like things like maybe adding like a tambourine or like
Yeah.
a clap track or something. We haven't done that yet, but that's been my goal. Like, where can we fit that in? Like, not just because, but like if it ever comes up and it works, I
Yeah,
want.
we hear little quirky things every once in a while, and then of course the movie tracks that are put in there.
Yeah,
I'm assuming you guys are horror movie fans, with some of the stuff you put in there, and your last single, uh, Lacrophagus.
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah, okay. I had to look that up, what it was, and it was a little crazy sounding, especially if you take it from what it actually is and you bring that out to like a humanoid type doing it. So can you give me some idea of where those you draw those influences from, and particularly with that song? That's a
Yeah.
crazy ass song.
It's really funny. So I'm a certified death midwife, so dealing with like end of life matters and things like that are something that are very near and dear to me. So I read a lot and research a lot about like mourning and grieving practices. And one of the things was like, and it's been debunked that they're perfume vials, but these Victorian tear vials, where essentially there was like lore that um you could bottle grief in your tears and you'd collect them in these little beautifully like made glass vials. And that kind of just morphed into, well, what if there was like a creature who like
Yeah,
drank and like
yeah.
had this cave and had like rows of these vials, and like whenever it wanted to like feel a certain, or like it hungered for that. And that's kind of where I just took that. I don't know.
Yeah, that's wild. Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about the awesomely disturbing artwork you released with the single?
Yeah.
yeah. So we had actually, this is the cool thing about working with Bleeding Art. They have an in-house artist. And why am I blanking on his name right now? But Bleeding Art Collective did that artwork for us, and we kind of just sent
Tegan.
them Tegan. Yeah.
it's Tegan.
Thank you. Shout out to Tegan. We literally, what did we do? We just sent them the lyrics. We've been doing that and we're gonna do that for the album that's gonna be coming up too. And some of our merch ideas and stuff. It's like we just send him the lyrics, and he literally just came up with that.
Yeah, I gave him very like basic stuff for, I kind of want a creature and I need it to have a long tongue because I feel like that's what it needs to
Right.
be. And he just went with it. It was really cool.
I think the other thing, did we do the drippy drooly thing? Like
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
the other thing. We were like, it's got to be a tongue, but like gross, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty gross. Yeah.
Like something like a goblin-esque creature, but like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely disturbing and sets the song up as a disturbing song. Kind of like your worm video. Where did you get all those worms?
Oh yeah, that was gross.
Yeah.
That was a little gross.
This is a cool story. So the guy actually, if you watch our video for Bone Mother, which is like a stop motion animated claymation video, the guy that did that, he also, I don't know why we had him do this, but
I don't either.
he took a bunch of photos for us of worms, just I don't know, around his place or whatever. And he's a really good photographer. I think we were
Wild.
going to use it for something else at some point, and then we just scrapped that idea. I don't even remember what it was for.
I think I said no, that's disgusting.
I think we were thinking of album cover or something. Like he did it for an album cover idea, and then we were like, no, we're not going to do that. But then we needed. How did this work out? This is kind of crazy. I think we released Worm Food as one of the singles on the album, and we just had like a generic still frame of the art or something like that, the album cover, and we're like, no, we got to do something really cool with this. So last minute, we got a guy to do a lyric video for us, and I just sent him all these photos of these worms, and he like animated them and put them together, and that's kind of how that came out. But yeah,
Nice.
Shane took all those photos, and yeah, it's
Great video. Kudos to that idea. And it's a little twisted and good. Yeah. So talking, I'm a lyric junkie. Being a former singer, I really focus. My first thing that catches my ear is usually the lyrics of a band as I'm listening to them. And your lyrical content is disturbing and horror and all, without being, I don't want to use the word immature, but not boyish, right? You're not. It's not just like an 18-year-old boy trying to be as gross as he wants to be writing lyrics. They're very non-conventionally gross, and they kind of go out, on a limb of making you think about, what's actually being sung about. Can you talk about that process of not only the song that we talked about, but of your overall songs and maybe your new songs, on how that process comes to be and what you're looking for as an experience for somebody listening to it?
Yeah, like the entire band, a lot of our influence comes from just the sheer amount of like horror that we watch, and I read a whole lot. Um, when I'm making when I'm trying to figure out lyrics for something, I usually have an idea of something. Um, like I really can't wait to share this concept of our album that we have coming up because it's so cool. But I'm someone that has to like research every angle of something, and I have like notebook pages of things that I'll research before I even dive into. I have like typically like an outline of what things could be, the story I'm trying to tell. Um and then I just kind of dive in, and I typically do it in parts. Sometimes I'll figure out a whole song before I hear music, but a lot of times I kind of just piece things together and just try to tell this really messed up, weird, gross story. But yeah, that's kind of
Yeah, it's even really effective when it's not gross or grotesque, like the song "Worm Food." It's
yeah,
it's disturbing. You could picture yourself in the box, and this is all that's racing through your head.
yeah,
So I really
yeah.
appreciate your angle on where you come from with your lyrics.
Thank you so much.
Any hints on what the new album is, or when it's coming out, or anything about it?
yeah. So don't have too much new info. It will be out next year. Um, Taking us a little bit longer than we thought to get it all wrapped up, but it's just because we're putting so much into this one. We also have like we didn't mention this earlier, but our new members, Austin, um, is he's a new drummer to the band, so working him in, and then we just hired a new guitar player too, TJ, and so we've got kind of these new things, you
We'll
know.
work in Austin into recording and stuff
Yeah,
because
yeah.
this is the first album that he'll be recording on. He's been with us for a while,
Yeah,
but
he did
like in live playing.
Lacrophages.
But yeah,
Yeah,
he was on
Oh, okay,
Lacrophages. So
cool.
so they've been with us for a while, but yeah, the new they'll be new to recording and stuff like that. So we're just working and piecing it together, and it's we've got all of the song structures written out. We're just kind of like tweaking them, and then throughout the rest of this year, we'll be in and out of the studio just between tours and stuff to finish it up.
And you guys playing any of the new songs when you're out and about?
we
Yes,
are.
Yeah,
yes,
nice.
yeah,
Yeah, so there's gonna be a couple new ones. Yeah.
yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. It seems like you guys, you do tour a lot. I see you always like popping up. You're some. And it seems like a lot of the shows you play, not a lot of them, but maybe more than other bands, are kind of in that no other band goes places. Like you're in Casper, Wyoming. I think you played at Dakotas, a Montana show. I think I saw pop up. How do those shows differ from like your audience or the people show up than a Chicago or a Milwaukee type show?
Those are pretty that a lot of those shows, metal doesn't come to the area a whole lot.
Yeah,
So you just get these people who are so stoked to watch metal. And yeah, I mean, especially in like places like Wyoming and South and North Dakota and over to Montana, which we played a little bit before, like once or twice. Um but we get all of these new people who hear us for the first, maybe second time, and get stoked. So it's really fun. Just kind of grabbing people in a different demographic than what we're used to. since like, yeah, here we're so close, we're Madison and Chicago and even Minneapolis we're very close to. But it's different, but I don't know. I feel like everyone is just like when you go to these shows, it's just everyone's the same like familiar metal happy face. So
Yeah,
yeah, that's been
nice,
really
nice. I think sometimes where we're from, we get everybody stops in Tampa. It seems so
yeah.
we get kind of spoiled and we forget that there's places like Casper, Wyoming, and Sioux Falls and places like that. And I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, like the digital experience that happened after COVID and digital explosion really helped grow metal in those places where now you have access to all these bands that you probably never would have heard of. Like when I was young trading tapes, you didn't hear, it took you forever just to hear one band. But I think now it's on regular.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
For sure.
that's helped us. I mean, and in with like touching on before with growing our team and everything, and even just the bands that we've been able to play and tour with, just the network of people that all of us have kind of made, and we grow like the same fan bases but kind of separate, and getting our music out there is just, it's been really awesome. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, Casket Robbery is doing a festival circuit this year. Where can fans see you guys?
Okay, yeah, good question.
Yeah.
I've got
Right.
I've got all the dates pulled up here because
Oh.
we do have a lot confirmed right now. So first off, we are starting our touring season in May.
Yeah.
And that's the run where you mentioned we're going to Casper, Wyoming. So we're kind of going out west a little bit. We have, and that's at we're playing the Ladies of Metal Fest.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're headlining that one.
Yeah, we're headlining that one.
That's cool.
Yeah, we're doing like a few shows, Denver, Colorado, Lincoln, Nebraska, Manitowoc, Wisconsin. Those are all like headlining shows. Then we've got a big tour with Nicolas Cage Fighter, Autumn Lies Buried, and My Own Will. And that's going to be the end of May into June. And that's where we're coming to Florida and kind of the East Coast and stuff like that. And
yeah, no real festivals on that one.
Yeah, let's get into the fests. So, we just announced Loud as Hell Fest in Canada. It's gonna be so cool. This will be our first time in Canada.
Yep.
Nice.
And that's got headliners are Filth, First Fragment, and Revocation. So
Nice.
it's gonna be rad. That is, when is that? August?
Yeah, August 1st through 3rd. Yeah.
August 29th, we're headlining Midwest Metal Fest in Indiana. We just announced Tennessee Metal Devastation Fest as well in October. So, in a couple here too. We've got Iowa Metal Underground Fest in August.
I know.
And
so many
Fort
fests.
Fest in Sioux Falls.
Nice.
So yeah, it's really cool. This year filled up like crazy. We still got some more stuff to announce, but this was going to be the year where we like didn't do as much and just recorded, our album.
Yeah, it didn't work out that way.
Yeah, people want to see us, so we just figured, hey, while we're recording the album, we'll just learn the songs that we're tracking and then play them live.
Nice.
Get ready for get ready for the release for next year.
Yeah. Is the preparation you do for a festival different than playing a long tour of smaller venues?
So it kind of depends. It depends on like if this festival, like what our set times are. If the festival is part of a tour that we're already on, or if it's like almost like a one-off for us where we're like just playing that. Usually our prep is similar to our tour prep. We get together, we rehearse a bunch of days and kind of plan out exactly what we want our stage show to be and what we want the set to be. It's a lot of fun along longer tours that we do because we have so much stage time before we get to like a festival, and we can just kind of go crazy and do some extra stuff. And yeah, like I said, like if we're like headlining a festival, we'll typically have some fun stuff along with it that we wouldn't normally bring just on a regular show, so make it kind of extra.
Nice. Nice. I want to talk about again. Go back to the Hell Howler tour, which we are stoked that you're coming to Tampa and we get to see you guys. So some of the bands, Autumn Lies Buried, they're a Tennessee band, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, and you guys have played with them before.
We
I
have,
thought
yeah,
okay.
they're friends of ours, yeah.
And then Nicholas Cage Fighter, who we're big fans of here. How did you get them to come up from Australia for a tour?
Yeah, so that was again Bleeding Art Collective, our label that we're working with. They work with Nicholas Cage Fighter, um, and they just hooked that up. So
Nice.
it's been in the works for a while. We've been talking about it for, I don't know, maybe a year or more.
Yeah, at least a year. We've been trying to figure it out.
Yeah, and we got it to click, and they're coming over here, and it's just going to be great. Like we love working with the Bleeding Art Collective and the bands that they have. Like everyone's so cool.
Nice. Is My Own Will a part of that as well, or are they separate?
They are.
Yeah, I think they're on.
Yeah,
they're part of it.
Yeah. And then we're playing 2 shows in North Carolina on that run, and we grabbed Blackwater Drowning, our local there.
Oh, very cool. Yeah.
Art, so they're going to kick it off for us that night. So
nice.
Those shows are going to be so fun. Oh my goodness.
Nice. Yeah, I saw on some of the bills down here, like the Orpheum, and I know you playing Orlando show. They took on the listing My Own Will off the listing, so I was just curious if they were still on the tour or not. For some reason, they're not listed on there.
Oh yeah, we should point out. Yeah, so like what All Mice Buried and My Own Will, they're doing half and half.
Oh, okay.
So I forgot which end. They might not be on that portion of it.
So we're going to see Autumn Lies Buried and
yeah, there's
that's
like
cool.
There's little symbols on there for where.
Yeah, I guess I should have paid attention to details. Okay, very cool. Great mix of different styles, and yeah, we're looking forward to like from start to finish those bands. Very cool.
It's fun.
There's a couple things I want to talk about before we wrap this up that are kind of not music related per se. Well, the first one is your latest single was on MTV or is going to be on MTV. What's that all about? I didn't even know they still played videos. That was crazy when I saw it.
So yeah, they've got a show on it's called Metal Thrashing Madness, and it's on it's called MTV Live, and it's like must be a 24-hour streaming thing. And honestly, I wasn't familiar with it until recently. And I'm glad you brought it up because I'm going to try to check it out tonight. But I think
we are too.
yeah, I think you can get it on Paramount Plus. Otherwise, if you just look up MTV Live, I'm sure I think they're on like cable channels and stuff like that too.
Yeah, we have Paramount Plus, so we'll check it out there.
Yeah, check it out. They've been doing it for quite a few years now. It's like a newer thing. But
Wild.
It's been out a little while, and we just got confirmed. We submitted our song to it to see if they'd be into it, and they said they were going to air it. I'm not exactly sure. They don't give you details on when, but
sure.
Hopefully it's tonight. It'd be really cool to see.
That's cool. Yeah, gone are the days of Ricky Rackman hosting Headbangers Ball. I remember that's when I used to stay up all night to see that one good video.
For sure. Yeah.
The other thing I want to talk about is Masterpieces of Terror and Supernatural, your audiobook, where people can, I guess, pay a Patreon donation to hear you tell them about a book or read the book.
Yeah, so it's super fun.
Very cool.
It's part of our Patreon. I really just read a bunch of short stories from horror books. And
that's a good book.
There's that one. Gosh, I have a whole bookshelf full of things that I kind of just start recording. I'll do like some of the short stories from those spooky storybooks with the really gross art from when we were little, like it's like scary stories to tell in the dark or something.
Yeah,
is what it is. Yeah, I do that. We do Goosebumps. So that's it. I read a bunch of stories, and they're uploaded every few weeks onto Patreon, and you can listen to them
nice
at your own leisure. And yeah,
it's
very cool
setup too. Patreon is great because it allows us to just have more direct connections with our fans, and also like the income that comes in from that really helps us out. Since we're sort of independent band. Like you said, we take care of our merchandise and stuff like that. So Patreon is just such a cool way to help out any band. So if you got a favorite band, definitely see if they're on
Nice.
Patreon. It's cool.
And then your other thing I want to talk about was Casket Strawberry.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. We've seen some bands do whiskey, some bands do coffee, but this is the first one we see do strawberry jam. And it's sriracha jam, right?
It is, yeah.
Very
Yeah,
cool.
So good, yeah.
we have our own coffee. We have beard oil,
Oh, nice.
and yeah, we met this really really amazing company over this last fall.
Yeah, they came out to a show. They're called That's My Jam.
Yeah, and they gave us a bunch of had us try a bunch of things, and then we all kind of brainstormed some stuff, and they sent us some things to choose from, and that one was definitely the winner.
Very cool.
So yeah, it was a fun thing
It
to
was
do
a
that.
limited pre-order, so
Yeah,
hopefully we can do it again. It'd be cool.
Yeah.
It seemed to go over well.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
the jam is so good. Also, their peanut butter is really awesome, and
Yeah.
they have that up on their website all the time. So definitely.
yeah, their peanut butter is ridiculous.
Casket Robbery seems to excel at like merchandising and getting your name out there, along with obviously writing awesome songs and playing a lot of shows. How do you guys manage all of that?
Good question.
That's a really good question. I'll get back to you in like 10 years.
Yeah, I don't know if we have a good answer for that.
Honestly, it's crazy. We both have full-time jobs out of this, and music is our full-time job as well. So it's kind of like we find a way. It's a lot of long nights. It's a lot of, at times, stress, but we get everything done. We have a wonderful team. We have wonderful fans who remind us every day why we're doing this. And then we get on the road and we're like, yeah, this rocks. This is our favorite thing. But yeah, it's been a learning experience, honestly, even since I joined, it's been like 8 years, and you kind of just learn more every year, every tour, every album that we do. Better ways to do things. We see other bands that we tour with, and you kind of take pieces of what they do, and I think that's really cool. We've learned so much from everyone else, and one of the bands that we tour with, Gorgatron from North Dakota, they really instilled, like, all of us bands, we rise together, and we've kind of made that a big part of our success that we have right now, is that we want everyone to succeed. We want to do this with everyone. We share everything that we do that's been successful for us, because people have shared with us what's worked for them. So it's a lot of work, but we are kind of constantly adapting to everything that kind of gets thrown at us. And I wish I had a better cut and paste answer for you.
That's a good answer. No, that's a good answer.
Good answer.
I don't know myself sometimes, but we just do it because we love it, so we do it.
Yeah. We feel that a little bit over here, not as intense as you guys, but with work and school and trying to do the podcast and go to shows, it gets nerve-wracking. I can't imagine what you guys are up against every day trying to handle it all.
We want to do so much constantly.
Yeah. Yeah, we would love to do so much too on our end. It's just like time is the enemy.
Yes,
you only have so many hours in a day. So before we wrap up the interview, I want to make sure I say thank you for coming on. We love what you guys do. We're big supporters of the music. Anything we can do for you guys, just let us know. Especially as the date gets closer to you guys playing Tampa. We started working a little bit with some promoters down here and trying to get our feet a little bit wetter in the scene down here. I'm originally from New England, so the Tampa scene's a little new for me. But whatever we can do to help you guys out and make sure people show up at your show, that's going to be our goal before you guys get here. And so besides Patreon, a Bandcamp, streaming you guys, buying merch when you come to town, definitely getting a ticket to go see you, what else can people do to help support you guys?
all of those things, sharing all of that. We have a band Discord for our fans that we love talking and chatting with everyone. I mean,
That's the big thing.
yeah, come out to shows, share our music, all that stuff that's like you can do for free and all of that, and it doesn't take much. Is anything you see, comment on stuff. It honestly, anything helps us, and it has, and we're so grateful for the things that we're able to do because of everyone.
Yeah, and sign up for our emailing list. We have a lot of like discounts and stuff too. So that's kind of what's really cool. All the private groups we have, like group chats and stuff like that. We're really, one-on-one.
Awesome. So thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. This was a great interview. It was great. It's great to meet you guys and talk with you.
Yes, thank you.
This was super fun. We appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Yeah, you too. Thank you.
Bye.